The WNBA free agency window officially opened on Wednesday, with signings set to begin Saturday. But before analysts could even roll out their offseason predictions, the Indiana Fever made one thing crystal clear. The biggest question surrounding their roster? It's been answered. Sophie Cunningham is staying. Indiana had already made key moves, locking in Kelsey Mitchell with a core qualifying offer and extending a restricted offer to Lexi Hull. But none of those decisions carried the same emotional weight as the uncertainty around Cunningham. That was the one situation fans kept watching, and now there's no more doubt. She's back. And this isn't just about bringing back another player. This changes everything about how teams approach the Fever, because Sophie Cunningham doesn't just play the game, she shifts the entire tone of it. When she's on the floor, opponents think twice. Suddenly, those cheap shots at Caitlin Clark don't happen so easily. The grabbing, the bumping, the extra physicality, it all comes with a price, because they know exactly who's standing nearby. Number 8. That kind of presence doesn't show up in stats, but it's real. You can feel it in every possession, every drive, every fast break. It forces teams to hesitate, and in this league, hesitation is everything. Now the numbers, they're solid. Last season, Cunningham put up 8.6 points per game while shooting an efficient 46.9% from the field. She knocked down 1.7 threes a night, added 3.5 rebounds, 1.2 assists, and about a steal per game, all while playing 25 minutes as a starter and taking on the toughest defensive assignments on the wing. But stats don't tell you who she really is. For that, you have to go back to one moment. June, Fever versus Connecticut Sun. Caitlin Clark gets poked in the eye by JC Sheldon. Most players would look to the refs, maybe say something after the game, maybe send a message online. Not Cunningham. She reacted instantly. No hesitation, no second thought. She grabbed Sheldon and took her straight to the floor, right there on national TV. Both players were ejected. Cunningham even chipped a tooth in the chaos. Didn't matter, because that moment wasn't just emotion, it was intentional. See, before Indiana, Cunningham played for the Phoenix Mercury. She had already been inside those locker rooms. She'd heard the conversations. She knew exactly how teams were game planning Caitlin Clark, targeting her, testing her, pushing the limits. So when she stepped in that night, it wasn't a surprise, it was a statement. She knew what was happening across the league, and she decided she wasn't gonna let it slide. That one moment changed everything. Overnight, her social media following exploded past 1 million. She became one of the most talked about players in the entire WNBA, not because of scoring titles or MVP conversations, but because she showed the world something simple. Caitlin Clark wasn't alone anymore, and if you think that doesn't matter, you're not paying attention, because Sophie Cunningham isn't just a teammate, she's protection. A Taekwondo black belt since the age of 6 with the mindset to match, she brings something you can't teach: presence, edge, and zero fear. And now that she's back, the rest of the league might not be ready for what that really means. She was kicking field goals on her high school football team. Let that sink in. Sophie Cunningham didn't just become this type of player, she was wired this way from the start. The toughness, the edge, the willingness to step into chaos. That's not something you develop overnight. That's who she is. And then August 2025 happened. In a matchup against the Connecticut Sun, Bria Hartley collided into Cunningham's leg. Just like that, everything changed. Torn MCL, season over, no comeback, no playoff minutes, nothing. She spent the rest of the year on the sidelines, dressed in street clothes, watching it all unfold. She watched the Fever fight through the postseason. She watched Caitlin Clark miss the entire playoff run due to injury. She watched Kelsey Mitchell get carried off the floor in Game 5, dealing with rhabdomyolysis. And through all of it, she couldn't help. She could only sit there and watch. Now here's the part that matters. An MCL tear isn't the same as an ACL. The recovery timeline is shorter, and the comeback can be quicker if everything goes right. And by all signs, everything has gone right. Cunningham has spent the entire offseason putting in the work, posting clips of full-speed workouts, sharp cuts, explosive movement. No hesitation, no limitations. It's been 8 months since the injury. She's not returning at 80%. She's coming back with 8 months of frustration, rehab, and built-up fire. Now look at the team she's rejoining. Before injuries slowed her down in 2025, Caitlin Clark was putting up 16.5 points and 8.8 assists per game, even though she only played 13 games that season. Despite that, Indiana still pushed all the way to the semifinals. Now she's fully healthy heading into 2026, and by every report, she's in the best shape of her career. Then there's Kelsey Mitchell, over 20 points per game last season, a league-leading 111 three-pointers made, first team All-Wnba, three-time All-Star, and when everything around her was falling apart due to injuries, she showed up every single night, didn't miss games, didn't make excuses, and she doubled down on Indiana, signing a $1.4 million Supermax deal to stay. In Game 1 against the Aces in the semifinals, she dropped 34. Aaliyah Boston brings another level of presence, a national champion at South Carolina, an all-star, and the player who hit the buzzer beater that knocked out the Atlanta Dream in the first round of the 2025 playoffs. She averaged over 14 points and 8 rebounds last season, and is now eligible for a max contract under the new CBA Lexi Hull. She didn't miss a single game, all 44 regular season games, every playoff matchup, and when it mattered most, she stepped up with a 16-point, 10-rebound double-double against the Aces in the semifinals. Indiana made sure to keep her with a restricted qualifying offer. Now look at the core. Clark is 24, Boston is 23, Hull is 26, Cunningham is 29, Mitchell is 30. This isn't just a roster, it's a group that's been through everything together. Injuries, setbacks, playoff pressure, shorthanded rotations filled with hardship contracts. They didn't just play together, they survived together, and that matters more than people realize, because talent can win you games, but chemistry, that's what wins championships, and there might not be another team in the league that understands each other like this one does. Other teams might have bigger names, MVPs, or headlines, but the Fever? They've built something different. They've built a family, and when a team plays like that, when they've gone through the kind of adversity this group has, they don't just compete, they fight. So for the doubters pointing at Aja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces as the standard, just remember this: Indiana pushed that team to 5 games in the semifinals, and now they're coming back healthier, stronger, and more connected than ever. Take a second and really think about this. No Caitlin Clark, no Sophie Cunningham, no Ari McDonald, no Sydney Colson, multiple key rotation pieces completely out, and still, the Las Vegas Aces needed overtime in Game 5 just to barely get past Indiana. That wasn't a full roster, that wasn't even close to full strength. That was a team held together by short-term contracts, limited depth, and pure determination, and somehow, they still pushed one of the most dominant teams in the league to the absolute edge. Now imagine that same team fully loaded. For the people pointing at the New York Liberty and their big spending, yeah, money builds rosters, but it doesn't guarantee championships. Because at the highest level, it's not just about talent, it's about connection. The Liberty might have depth, but the Fever, they've got a core group that already understands the grind, the sacrifice, and what it actually takes to survive in this league. Now let's be real, the roster isn't perfect. They still need a reliable backup point guard. They could use more experience in the front court, but here's the difference. They have options. There are over 100 free agents available right now. Names are out there, opportunities are there. Azura Stevens has already been linked to Indiana. They've got cap space, they've got the number 10 pick in the upcoming draft, and more importantly, they've become one of the most attractive destinations in the entire WNBA sold-out arenas. National attention every night, and a generational talent in Caitlin Clark, a player that others want to play alongside. This isn't a team trying to become a contender. They're already there. Everything from this point forward is about strengthening the bench, filling gaps, and adding depth, because the foundation, that's already solid. And on May 9th, when Indiana faces the Dallas Wings, something we've never seen before is finally about to happen. Clark, Mitchell, Cunningham, Boston, Hull, all on the floor, all healthy, all together. For the first time, no one knows exactly what that's going to look like, but we do know what each of these players has already proven, individually, under pressure, and in some of the toughest circumstances imaginable. Caitlin Clark, 24 years old, stepping into a season with something to prove. Kelsey Mitchell, locked in on a supermax, the most dependable scorer this team has. Aaliyah Boston, rising fast, already delivering in clutch playoff moments, and now eligible for a max deal. Lexi Hull, defensive backbone, never misses time, always shows up. Sophie Cunningham, 8 months of rehab, a chipped tooth, and a reputation across the league for doing whatever it takes to protect her team. And maybe the most important part, this group already believes in each other. We all we got, we all we need. That's what Kelsey Mitchell said during the 2025 season, a year where the Fever were missing their biggest stars for most of the run. Now, everyone's back. The questions that surrounded this team all off-season answered. The roster coming together, the opportunity wide open. The Indiana Fever aren't on the way, they're already here. Now it's just a matter of how far they take it. Let me know what you think.